So how is Gaijin going to decide to fully model the stealth of things like the F-35 and F-22? I really am curious, and this is a video that I kind of want to just get your guys' opinions on it and what you guys are thinking. So obviously we're still a ways from Gaijin adding 5th generation to the game. They said it'll be around probably December of 2026, so the Christmas update next year. And obviously that's in a minute, but I wanted to kind of make a video now and just talk about, as of right now, if Gaijin were to add the Raptor right now, how would it compare with some of the more modern AESA and IRST systems that are made to kind of track and find 5th generation aircraft? Now, obviously, the most effective thing against 5th generation aircraft are going to be things like the IRST onboard, things like the Eurofighter. And where this is very great, I do think the biggest issue with that is going to be being able to use air-to-air missiles like the AIM-120, that's what we have on the Eurofighter right now, slaved to a IRST. I don't think that's even possible, and actually be shootable against the Raptor. As, you know, what's pretty noticeable about 5th generation aircraft is they're not invisible. They are definitely seeable. The issue is you can see them and know they're there, but not be able to kill them. It's very different being able to lock an aircraft and actually be able to get a weapons-grade lock on an aircraft. And even though we've had, you know, stealth aircraft that have been shot down, like the F-117, that was a very lucky shot. People don't give enough credit to how lucky that really was. They essentially just shotgunned a bunch of missiles in the air, and it actually managed to get close enough that it sent shrapnel into the very sensitive F-117 flight controls, and it ended up crashing. That is not a radar saw it, radar tracked it, radar killed it. I believe they launched 2 missiles failed to track, 1 tracked for a couple seconds when it had its bomb bay open, and it managed to kill it. 5th generation aircraft like the F-22, F-35, and even things like the J-20 all have state-of-the-art stealth capabilities. And that's not even talking about things like the B-2 or B-21. So how Gaijin wants to actually model stealth is going to come down to how they want to make it in-game. Gaijin could very easily make stealth just be a feature where you just simply can't see it on radar until you hit a certain mark. I mean, it's very simple to be like, hey, the Su-57 won't be able to see the F-22 Raptor until 15 miles, and vice versa. Or they can model it where it's just where how I think they're going to, where it depends on the RCS of the aircraft based on the angles they have, based on public information, which is obviously a lot of it is going to have to be kind of made up, or at least to the best of their knowledge, since everything is very classified. What I mean by this is obviously an F-22 Raptor stealth is going to be way better front on with its weapon bay closed than it would be side on with its weapon bay open. Now the Raptor has very good 360 degree stealth capabilities. It's stealthy from the rear, stealthy from the side, stealthy from the front. Things like the Su-57 and J-20 lack stealth from the rear. They dropped their RCS very noticeably, almost to 4th generation aircraft standards wise. And obviously if Gaijin chooses to model that, it would make it where stealth is only really effective frontally on based on certain aircraft. Again, it also depends on balancing. I mean, obviously, I personally, not necessarily even a bias, but look at the United States. They operate the most successful 5th generation program in the world, the F-35. They also operate the most capable air-to-air fighter in the world, the F-22 Raptor. So it's no shock that, well, they are probably going to be the most dominant when it comes to 5th generation fighters. Gaijin, a game that really likes to have game balance, will probably make it where the Su-57 and J-20 are either near peer or at peer competitors. I don't imagine Gaijin will have where the F-22 comes out of the gate and is absolutely brutal to everything. I think the Su-57 and J-20 will be able to hold its own just off of what Gaijin pulls and decides to actually add. I also think things like the F-35 are going to be really, really good because this is an aircraft that everyone's going to have. Remember, the F-35 is how every nation gets a 5th generation aircraft, either through subtrees or just the main nations themselves, because countries like Israel, Britain, France, they don't currently have their own 5th gen. Yes, France doesn't actually operate the F-35, but the sub-nations in France do. Sweden, which doesn't operate a 5th generation, but their subtree Finland has the F-35. So it really comes down to things like that. Japan doesn't have a 5th generation program, they have the F-35A, and, you know, vice versa. A lot of these nations don't have 5th generation programs. You know, right now in the world, as I'm making this video, the only capable 5th generations that are in full service with nations are the F-22 Raptor for the United States, the F-35 for multiple NATO nations, the J-20 for China, And that's it. I don't count the Su-57 because there's only like 16 built, and there's not even enough to make a full air unit, much more or less actually be a full effective fighting force, and they keep trying to push sales on them that I just don't see happening, especially because, well, you know, they're lacking the engines that they keep trying to upgrade it on, and yes, I do know that 2 sales were made recently, supposedly. It really just, I don't even really want to get into it. It kind of just depends on how capable Gaijin wants to make the Felon, and it can go either way. Now, I do think modern AESA radars on things like 4th and a half generation aircraft like the FA-18F Super Hornet, the Eurofighters with AESA, like the, I believe the F4 or whatnot, more modern Rafales, Gripen, JAS-39E, these aircraft are going to be going up against 5th gen. There's really no way to put it. They're going to get very advanced air-to-air missiles like the Meteor, the AIM-120D, even the AIM-260 probably, and they'll be put and tasked with going up against things like the F-22 and F-35. So Gaijin is going to have to make it where AESA radars on 4.5 gen and 4th gen aircraft are not completely useless. Obviously, I don't think a Su-35 is going to come toe-to-toe with an F-22 Raptor, and especially in BVR, and I really would expect Gaijin to make that where that isn't necessarily the case. But I also would expect Gaijin to make it where there's actually a possibility that the Su-35 or whatever aircraft is capable of actually at some point being able to engage the Raptor, at least for game purposes, and obviously vice versa with all the 5th generation aircraft. I want to know what your guys' thoughts are down below in the comments. I don't really want to make too many assumptions, as obviously we're still about a year out from them actually even being added, but I do think Gaijin's been working on them for a while. I wouldn't be surprised if they have working models of them currently, just because it's a major addition. Obviously, they're going to want to know what people are thinking. I really want to know how they're going to bridge the gap from 4th gen, 4.5 gen to 5th gen. Obviously, these aircraft still are going to play against each other. There's going to be up tiers. I mean, right now, say the Raptor was added at 15.7, it obviously would be able to see 14.7 aircraft in the down tier, and 14.7 would see them in an up tier. So it really just would depend on how Gaijin wants to make it, where how capable stealth is against the more modern IRST and AESA radars. It just really depends. Anyways, let me know your thoughts down below. Please make sure to hit that like button and subscribe. Join the Discord that's linked down below in the description. Hope you guys have enjoyed this video, and I'll see you guys in the next one.